What's going on, everyone? So today we are reviewing Gabriel's gameplay. One of my viewers who messaged me on Discord asking for some help. So that's what we are here to do. As this will not only hopefully help him out and his team, but help some of you guys out, because I know some of you, just like I was when I first started up playing, had no idea what the hell I was doing wrong and wanted to get better. And it's exactly what these guys were messaging me on Discord. It was specifically Gabriel, as you can see it right here. Gabriel is the one who messaged me and his team. He's been asking questions on Discord, and he asked me if so he wanted some help, and so I thought, the best way to do this is just to send me a clip of your game, as that's just the best way to give me context of like certain things that you're doing wrong. And so, if you guys want to have your gameplay watched for some tips, or you need help, for example, let me know by joining my Discord and messaging me, which should be in the description, because I know a lot of you ask questions, and they're good questions, but a lot of times I can't give you the specific help without seeing a video. But shouts out to Gabriel for letting me, or sharing his video to me and helping him out, and as well as you guys. Now, going into the video, we did pre-watch this video just to see what we were working with, and they are from Brazil, I believe, so they will be talking in Portuguese, I think, but that shouldn't be a problem. I'll just adjust the volume so the volume from the video isn't too empowering. And do keep in mind that they are lower in level. I believe they said that somebody's level 32, level 60, and I think the highest is level 100. So do keep that in mind. But that's exactly why I am here to help them, seeing as they are low level. And also, last thing, if we do miss anything in regards to any tips or tricks or whatever, or maybe we missed something in the video that we didn't generally talk over to help these guys out, to help them, those people who are more into the game or had longer history of playing the game, who are better at the game, you can always just let us know in the comment section to help them out as well if we do miss anything. So, but with that out of the way, just hit my mic. We are going to go into this now. Like I said, we did pre-watch this, so we do know generally what the problems are, and that's what we're going to be focusing on. But the first thing we want to look at, or I want to look at, is their build. I just want to talk about this right off the bat because there are some glaring problems, not the worst from what I remember, but there are some glaring problems. So, where to start? So, I believe Gabriel is the Achilles. I'm not too sure about his two friends, but I know Gabriel is the Achilles to keep in mind. And also, this video is in the perspective of Raw. They are TrioQueued, so keep that in mind as well. So they do have access to communication. This isn't like a solo queue or a duo queue where they have no access to like one other person. This is a trio queue. But with the builds, I think we're just going to go from top to bottom. So from Achilles to Raw. So Achilles build, we got your Warrior's Axe, Prophetic, Glad, Genjis, and Archers. That's actually a really good build. That is
very good, yeah.
Yeah, that's the general build that I think we gave. Last item, I don't see what we're going into last item. I'm hoping that'd be a Heartseeker, especially against their team, seeing as they are heavily, they have a lot of protections. One glaring thing that is really bad with this build, really the only thing that's really bad with this build, is that you went Aegis. Not only is this just bad to go on your defensive gods anyways, because you're never going to use it, on Achilles, you need to go like a Blink, because Achilles,
a Blink or a Horrific or something that's more offensive.
Yeah, because with Achilles, you're basically backlining the backliners on the enemy team. You're just there to kill them, and also you just have a free ult to kill the tanks. So you definitely want to use, or you have like more of offensive relics, like he said. Preferably, you would want to go Blink, especially on this team, seeing as you have a Raw and a Geb. You have a lot of synergy in your team. But other than that, your build is pretty stellar, outside of maybe the fact that you guys all didn't go recipes. You guys should be going recipes. It's just a free slot. It doesn't cost any gold. The one with gooseberries and bow are your best ones to go. Now you wouldn't go gooseberries in any of these gods, but bow you're just getting cooldown, and actually it has a very important impact on your games, as that cooldown will actually dictate a lot of your fights. So make sure you buy recipes. Make sure you don't buy Aegis on any of your tanks. Now Geb, let's see. He forgot his starter item. It looks like the same thing with Ra. You guys need to buy starter items.
Yeah, starter items. You always need to buy a starter item, regardless which character you're playing.
Yeah, because although, like I said, the problems with Joust is that you can't upgrade it. The caveat that I gave is the fact that they're so important early game. For they're the biggest bang for your buck in terms of gold and stats, that you're trolling if you're not. Now you can get away with it a little bit more with a tank like Geb, but you'd still want to get like a Warrior's Axe or a Conduit Gem or something. It's just too good to not go.
Even a Sands of Time would have been good for early cooldown, mana sustain, and then obviously don't upgrade it late game, but you could always just sell it off later. But just really good for beginning of the game and mid game, pretty much the entire game, just having that starter up.
Yeah, exactly. So you did go into your gauntlet, which I like. Now you did go into a Heart Ward, which is
Also
actually
very
good.
good.
That's actually really good, especially on Geb, as he's a very traditional tank in terms of peel and setup. Sovereignty, I understand it.
It's Contagion.
Or not, sorry, yeah, Contagion. I understand it for the anti-heal a little bit, so I don't fault you too much for that. But generally speaking, you do want to make sure you get other items, specifically on a team like Vamana and Soul. You definitely would want to go Midgard here, especially with that Vamana build that I can see. So Midgard, absolutely here.
Either go Midgard, or if you planned on getting a Relic Dagger with a Blink Geb, then you can go the glyph that reduces attack speed.
Yeah, that actually works out. That's even better.
You can do either or, but especially because that also goes into the issue being Shell and or Meditation is fine on both Achilles and Geb. You can go that on them if you want a defense relic. He didn't buy a second relic, but that second relic, especially for Geb, should be a blink.
It has to be.
You should be blinking in, 2ing and ulting, or ulting and 2ing.
Yeah.
Setting up your team. It's just too good on Geb, Sylvanas, any of those types of gods that you just want to get in there and use your ult.
Yeah.
And set up for your raw damage and your Achilles.
And then I see this item. This is not an item you should ever build on Geb.
Yeah, it's Glad Shield.
That has to be
going to a Glad Shield, and I mean it's extra damage, but that's just too selfish.
Yeah, especially when you're playing Geb. You do want to make sure you have 0 cooldown in this build. So going like a Pridwin here is absolutely good here. And then
Pridwin works very well with Geb's ult.
I will say, if you guys, Gabriel, whatever the hell, I want you to prioritize telling your team to watch my videos to give me the views. No, but to prioritize showing them my videos, because we not only do we give them like a general build that if Geb went would have been so much better, but we also explain it. Now you're from Brazil, so you may have to translate a little bit for like our explanations why, but make sure you preface that, because from your build looks like you were watching my video, which makes it a lot better. Theirs has the right idea, but they just need to tweak it to where it would be so much better. And so that's definitely what you should do. Now with Raw, we're just gonna quickly go through this. Raw, the build's fine. Maybe not get Doom Orb. Now it's an okay item on Raw, more better than any of the other gods to go, because Raw has speed and also he doesn't have a direct getaway ability, but it's so expensive. You don't need to really go this, especially on their team.
It's extremely expensive. It's more of a luxury item, especially in Joust. Especially because you're going up against Jormungandr and Vamana, extremely both tanky gods. You kind of want to get your percent pen on. I know it has 10%, but you really want to get like more percent, like an op shard.
Yeah, your op shard here is really good here. You should have just opted in for that op shard, and just gotten rid of you in this team. You didn't need to go Doom Orb at all. Now you could have again, you didn't get your starter, so either Conduit, preferably Sands of Time, but literally anything, bro. Like it's just, you need to get your starter, and then obviously your recipe. But otherwise that build isn't bad. Chronos Deso is really good on Raw, and then op shard, but a little bit sooner.
Terrible. I'm not like I'm not like peeved by the do more at
Yeah.
all. It's a decent item on Raw. It's just a little expensive, and then preferably get more pen for that team comp you're going up
Yeah.
against earlier on.
And then yeah, generally speaking, like I said, your builds they have the right idea. They just need to be tweaked a little bit. And then just quickly, I would not do this, especially when you're down in gold,
Behind.
especially
Yeah.
when you bought that as well. Just keep in mind, if you're going to buy a ward, just preferably buy one, because you can have your other team get just one as well. You don't want to like kill yourself on gold.
Because it's 170
That's
gold.
100 yeah, that's a lot. So
Oh, speaking of which too, nobody bought Chalice as well.
oh yeah, you want to make sure you get your chalice regularly. You always want to get your chalice, but regularly after securing your first item. So like after prophetic or after gauntlet or after chronos, you want to make sure you get your chalice online. Just free sustain that you always have, and it's very good in Joust. But other than that, your relic on Geb is fine. Make sure you get that blink. Also, you can get your relics at level 12, so you should have already had that there. Raw's relics are fine. Other than that, that is going to be it for that build. Hope that helped a little bit. We're going to go straight into game. We're going to skip around a few on the dead parts of the game, like the not when they're actually in the
like when they're just standing around and stuff.
Yeah, we're
gonna
skip
go to
that.
Like key moments.
All right. So this is, I'm going to go in a little bit. All right, let me skip back. Now, hopefully the sound isn't too loud. I don't think it's too loud for you guys, but... So not terrible here. The one thing that you should be focusing on here, Raw, and this is one thing that's going to come up a lot, so I'm going to point it out here. You are very like in there with your team when you don't need to. As a mage, you really should be prioritizing throwing out your abilities, especially on Raw. Throwing out your abilities from a safer distance. Like right now, you should be backing up. You should not be this close. You should never really be this close unless, you know, you're like trying to chase down somebody, for example. But in this scenario, there's no point in getting this. And I think you do take like a lot of damage here. Just because, yeah, you actually do take like half your health for no reason. All right, so you guys at this point, if the other team was smarter, they would have either went to purple or they could have stole your blue. Now they are a little low, so they probably weren't going to do that, but you want to make sure you try and get your buff camps, as that's one thing that you also guys don't really do a lot. Now you go to your buff camps somewhat, but you do want to make sure you prioritize going to get your buff camps while they are up, and make sure you count or you watch the cooldown. If they're going to be up, then maybe prioritize doing the wave and then going straight to a buff camp. See now how you see how they're going to their blue? You guys should have cleared that wave, and then you should have went to your blue. Now at this point, you guys should have just done the wave and then went to your blue, but that's just small little tweaks you guys should make. Generally speaking, just make sure you guys do your buff camps. Now right here, the Raw, yeah, that was a little similarly to what I said earlier. You got this the Raw here. Keep in mind
he's pushed up way. Look at the Geb on the map. He's way further back into the tower.
I think one thing you guys need to also focus on is communication. Because Raw, it looks like you're like, okay, I'm gonna go do this wave. Meanwhile, Geb, I don't know what Geb's doing. I'm not entirely sure why the Geb is back here. He's actually losing the wave if he just stays there. Achilles is with you, but I think it's a communication thing here. And then, guys, keep in mind that so this is the perspective of the Raw. The Achilles is Gabriel, so we're also going to be watching everyone here, not just the Raw. But yeah, the Geb's back here. You guys need to be
running immediately. Yeah. As soon as you see them come out, you should be running away.
Speaking of that, yeah, and also we pointed this out earlier with your buff camps. If they're going to their blue, you see them already going to their blue, just know that they're either going to go to their purple or go back to wave. So you want to make sure you kind of the idea of like, okay, where are my enemies? I don't see them. Where are they likely at? Okay, I saw them go to their blue. Okay, so they're either going to be coming back from their blue to their wave, which is what they did, or they're going to be going over to purple. You can also hear purple from the middle of the map if you're like you have your headset on, which I hope you guys do. So you just want to make sure you're more aware of what's going on.
Caralho.
And then now here it's another miscommunication because you guys probably could have gotten that kill.
Tô com você, Renato. Tô com você.
Aham.
Because the Raw backed up, and then these two
Yeah.
guys went in, and you guys could have
Yeah.
secured that kill actually, because he's
The-
literally one shot.
The Raw got poked out and got afraid, went back, and then the Geb and Achilles went in.
Yeah,
And then if Raw stayed with them just a little bit longer, they might have been able to secure the kill.
yeah, and that's going to be a running theme that you're going to be seeing. That you guys do. You guys just want to make sure, because it's one of the things where it's like, okay, one of you is thinking about going in, but it doesn't seem like you're communicating like, all right, I'm going in, let's go in, and then once that person goes in, it takes damage. That's when your other teammate sees that and like, oh, we should probably go in. But at that point, as you're coming in, the other person's coming out. So you guys aren't like really ever truly team fighting, and you're going to see that a lot. And that's actually precisely why you lose a lot of your team fights in which you should have easily won, especially with your team comp. Your team comp is way better than theirs. If you have Achilles on your team, I mean, that's already Achilles is the best god in Joust because they just keep buffing him. So your team is just so much better. So making sure communication. And then I know I'm pausing this a lot, but one thing with Gabriel, this is specifically to you. I just want to get this out the way. You need to learn how to play Achilles. I don't know how to say that without saying it like that. One thing you want to like practice doing is his combo. A lot of the times with Achilles, you're able to auto cancel with your 3, and so that I don't think you did that at all. And then on top of that, I don't think we ever saw you use your 2. Or you're not gonna. You don't. It doesn't seem like you use your 2 a lot.
And
So
you
want
rarely ever use your 2. It gives you healing.
Yeah.
It gives you protections. It makes you a lot less squishy. It's a big part of his kit. I don't really see him pop it that often. Obviously, well, you're kind of maxing out your 3 and your 1 before your 2.
Yeah.
But even when you eventually get your 2, it's actually important to use it when you have it before you're about to get your damage off.
Yeah, and then with Achilles, you are an aggressive warrior, the backline to backline the other enemy team. So one thing you want to practice doing, we're going to point it out too. We're not going to go too far in depth. But just generally speaking, when you're playing Achilles, you don't want to use your 1 just whenever you want, just to get
willy-nilly.
Yeah, only in certain small points in which you can do that, just to do that. Like if they're backing, for example, you can use that to stop their back. But generally speaking, you want to make sure that you're in range for that stun. And a lot of the time, what you can do with Achilles to get in that range is basically use your 3, and so you can get closer to then use your 1. And in that point, you can secure your 3, especially with canceling it, auto canceling with your 3. And in that point, you do a fuck ton of damage. So you want to make sure to properly play Achilles as well. So if you want to look up a video or something like that, if that didn't make sense, I can also help you later if you need it. But I see you're not playing Achilles the correct way, so I just want to point that out.
Muito da hora.
Mano, que louco nessa skin.
Sim.
Vou ficar aqui. Boa.
Yeah, so at this point, you're just clearing wave, which is fine. And,
Oi?
at this point, you should be going to your purple, like we said, because there's literally nothing here.
Purple's up, so you could just get farm. There's very limited farm on the map, so you should be trying to get as much as possible.
Yeah, especially seeing as they got red, so they're gonna get 5. And actually, the soul hit 5. This is my next point. When you see the enemies hit 5 and you guys aren't 5, and especially seeing as Geb is basically half health,
you need to run away.
You need to you need to back up. You just need to back up because you never win those fights.
Yep.
Generally speaking, you never win those fights. Also, keep in mind that they did get red, so they're just up on XP baseline just because they got red and you didn't. And especially seeing as you didn't get purple, you're never gonna get 5 before them.
That's a big part of the early game is who gets and analyzing who's going to get 5 first, because say if you get your blue buff and you know that they got their blue buff and nobody gets purple, you get red, so you're a buff ahead. you know that when the same wave comes up and you're clearing, either you can clear the wave faster than they can, or you just have an overall XP lead and you know you're going to hit 5 first. As soon as you hit level 5, you can go on the offensive and end
Yes.
up getting kills. And then vice versa, if you know for a fact that they're ahead of you on XP and gold, and you know it's like they're going to get 5 before us, just back off. Don't fight into it because they have the advantage.
Right.
Foda.
And I think this is precisely why I think somebody dies here.
Also because I believe Geb doesn't have his 3 here.
Yeah.
Achilles is being a little bit too aggressive. He dashed in when he was
Yeah.
low, and they have level 5. And Geb doesn't have his 3 up because he used it willy-nilly a little bit earlier before.
That's also another thing with the Geb. We're going to talk about Geb here for a sec. The person playing Geb, you need to make sure you prioritize not just throwing out your 3 frivolously. You want to make sure you do it with intention, not just because like, just because I feel like I need to give it to him. He's going to take like maybe a little bit of damage, so I can maybe...
Because if they're just throwing out a little bit of poke damage, and Achilles is relatively healthy, there's no real reason to really waste your 3. You should really be doing it in the middle of a team fight, like when they're all trying to all-in somebody and kill them, like what Achilles did.
Yeah, with Achilles. And now Achilles, Gabe, you did go in when you shouldn't have, especially when you're half health, knowing that soul is level 5. Now, Vamana is low. However, it's just too risky because if they just kill 1 minion, they can all get level 5. And if Vamana, you already died, so it doesn't really matter. But it's just there's so many risks here, especially with Geb being back. You just need to make sure you guys are following suit because that was just clear miscommunication with what you wanted to do and what the other your other 2 teammates wanted to do.
It seemed like Geb and Raw were just kind of on standby. Then Achilles was like, "All right, let's go in." He was the only one he was the only one with that plan.
You can actually see it, right here. They're just backing up,
and then you go in.
Yeah, see, it's too late.
Yeah, so essentially it's a 1v3, and then Geb and Raw are trying to. They're like, "Oh shit, I gotta go over and help him out." It's like it's too late.
Yep. One thing also I want to keep in mind, Raw, please do not, like, this isn't the worst thing in the world, but you want to make sure you get your horn shard for the cooldown.
Well, the other thing too is that he needs to use it as well.
Oh yeah, I don't think you ever use this.
I don't think he ever used it during the game.
Yeah, so make sure you use your shard too.
I mean, the cooldown one is like objectively the best one. On, like, you can't go wrong on like any character except for like maybe if you're going an ADC or an auto attack warrior. You can go the yellow one.
Yeah.
Your attack speed, but this red one, even if you're gonna go this one, it's not the worst thing on the planet. You just gotta make sure you're using it if you're gonna put out some damage.
Yeah. Oops. I meant to. What did I want to say? Yeah. Oh, with the shards, it's just a free thing. If you played this game long enough, which I don't. Doesn't seem like you guys have. We never had this before. These shards were never a thing. So it's free. And it's not like you're wasting a relic. It's just a shard to help you with. So just use it. If
you're gonna replace it later on in the game anyway. Yeah,
if you don't use it the most perfect time or whatever, you mess up. Maybe it's just a shard though. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Now you can get better at using it, but just make sure you use it. Because I know a lot of people don't actually. They actually forget that this is here a lot of time, which I'm pretty sure the Raw did. Now at this point, you guys should, yeah.
You should ult now. No, it's too late.
That is another thing. So you could have actually, Gabe, right here. So the Jormungandr is going in. He is level 5. He's out of or level 6. He's out of mana. I would be going in at this point. Soul is coming in.
All in now, Jorm.
You should have ulted now or already.
Yeah, like instantly.
Now this ult right here,
and then
that was useless.
Yeah. I think so. The way you usually play Achilles too is that obviously you can ult when you're right next to them when they're in threshold, but then you could also communicate to your team too that like, hey, you can even pre-ult if they're low enough, and then hope that your team, like Raw, hits a 1 or is 3 or 2, and then at the last moment gets them in the threshold so they can't really do anything about it. Now, there's also other situations where it's like, okay, I think I can get this kill without having to waste my ultimate. I think we can secure this kill without me having to use my ult. But in that case, like say if that was your intention, you didn't want to use your ult on Yorm here, and he managed to get out of your range, he's gonna get away. just don't use the ult then. Just accept it as a drop kill. Because at this point, it's like, okay, he's still in threshold, but
You're
in
way
what
yeah.
there's no reality, and you're like not desperately trying to like, oh, let me secure the kills. Like you're never going to reach him now. It's gone.
One thing I think that you did, Gabe, here, I don't know, maybe this is a thing because you do it frequently a lot. It looked like you hesitated here. Now it looked like you were like, maybe I should do it, maybe I shouldn't. I'm just gonna do it now. And at that point, it's like there's the window of opportunity in Smite is very, very small. Within seconds, even milliseconds, you have to make sure you make decisions. One thing I want to prioritize saying is when you first start playing Smite, MOBAs in general, you just want to make sure that not to be scared like all the time. It's okay to make mistakes or whatever. You're learning to play the game, but if you're always going to have that scared mentality, you're never going to learn what you can and you can't do. So make sure that you try and you push your boundaries to see what you can and you can't do. If you're always scared, you're never going to progress. Regardless if it's a shit play or whatever, starting off, you should make sure to just try new things out. That's what I want to say, but go ahead.
I was going to say, it seemed like there was a, throughout this game, there's usually like a little bit of a latency in time when it comes to decision making.
Yeah. But that kill from Yorm should have been the easiest thing in the world. Now this Vamana is a free kill. Nice get bolt.
Yep, nice stun.
Nice.
Good. That's a good kill.
You can kill this Yorm too.
Absolutely kill him.
You could use your shard too.
Yeah, driving around. That's a really good flank.
Nice.
Perfect.
That was actually really nice. Now you see what you did there. That Gab actually played really well.
Yes.
He flanked around, as you can see on the minimap, because he knew he wasn't going to catch him, and then he goes from here and secures the kill. So that's very good.
Both those kills was like, that was a really good play.
Yeah, as you can see, this was a free game for you guys. Like, that communication right there was really nice. Because they pushed up a lot, and these guys aren't the greatest players either, so. Alright, so it looks like you guys are just going to be doing your buffs here.
Right here. Yeah, you also, definitely back here, because you've got lots and lots of gold. You can basically afford an entire Chronos pendant at this point.
Yeah, because I don't know, it might be blocked from there, but you have 2,500 gold. Never do this. You want to make sure, well, first of all, you should have had your starter, but if you have this much gold and you don't have a Chronos, you're missing so much utility in terms of just having your cooldowns back up and a little bit more power on top of like a tier 2, for example, or your Chalice. So you should have backed 1,000 years ago. Same with Achilles and Geb. I am assuming they have similar gold. It doesn't look like they backed as well.
Because I don't think any of them backed separately. I think they were all together the whole time. So you guys have a bunch of gold.
You have a fuck ton of gold. And then moving on, you guys want to make sure you check purple. I don't think you guys went over to. You'll see in the game. You guys did not go to purple at all, like legitimately. So you need to make sure prioritizing your farm is. You need to start doing that. Now there isn't a lot of farm on the map, so there's not like, it's not like Conquest, for example. So
because you're basically giving it up for free every single time, like you saw on the mini map just now.
Yeah.
Soul, Vamana, and Yorm are just getting purple, and it's going to it's just going to compound throughout the entire game. If like you keep on giving them, say like just a free, because you can either let's say you get blue and red every time, well it's even gold at that point because you're just giving them purple. It's a double for double. And if they're contesting red, then you're giving them triple buff control, and then it's just going to compound. The more purple buffs they're going to get, it's just going to snowball. They're going to be at least a level and a half ahead of you by the end,
especially if they're killing you too. So it's just gonna, and that's I think what actually happened. You guys did catch up a little bit in the game, which you guys will see, but that was one thing that you guys needed to. It's like you guys have a bunch of small tweaks, especially with your mechanics. We're not going to really talk too much about your mechanics because that's basically up to you. Because
that's just going to happen throughout the game. Like as you play it, you're going to get better and better.
But the small tweaks and then the general things that we're going to talk about, just like communication and making sure other shit, positioning, stuff like that. But yeah. I think something happens here too.
Geb's taking too long in base. That's what happens here.
Yeah, right.
And there's not enough communication to. You guys, if you guys know that Geb's in base for too long, you guys shouldn't be stepping up like that for a 2v3.
Yeah, this is another instance of you stepping up when you don't need to. One thing you do here is you step up You should not be this far up.
You're
you
like
should've-
really within touching distance to the Yorm.
Yeah, you should have used your 1 and backed up. I know a lot of people don't like having their minions in their tower, but at the end of the day, your life versus having an extra
Yeah,
bit of
it's-
gold is
You're gonna
not
get
worth.
you're gonna get the XP regardless. A lot of people are too afraid of that, and like even Conquest and Joust.
Yeah.
You know, letting the tower kill the minions, it's fine. Just
It's okay.
it's okay. Like because like you're gonna be
'Cause you die
healthy by
here.
yeah, you die here. You can risk your life and or just take a bunch of unnecessary poke damage.
Yes.
And all you're losing is a little bit of gold for one wave. You still get the XP, so
Right, and not
just
only
play it
that,
safe.
yeah, just play it safe. And then not only that, the Achilles here seems to be kiting the minions anyway, so they wouldn't be going in. At this
Yeah.
point, you should really have just
backed up and just
Yeah, just
use
use your
abilities from
use
afar.
your 1 right here, back up.
You shouldn't be this close.
Yeah,
I mean, granted, I think he's trying to clear the wave with the 2, but that's just unnecessary.
Yeah,
You're putting yourself in a vulnerable position for no added gain at all, really.
Yep. And then that's exactly why you die here.
And then right here, I believe the Achilles, he should be backing up. There's no,
Yeah.
they're not gonna be able to get this tower. You're just taking too much damage. I believe he dies here.
I do
while
believe he
trying
dies here
to-
too. And then not only that, your Geb is still in base. Now that's just going to be a thing where maybe I don't know. I don't know exactly what was happening here. Maybe Gabe can tell us here. Maybe he got up and said he needed to do something important, for example. But I'm just going to assume that he's trying to pick his items, or he's like struggling with his items. I don't know. But that's just something that's like kind of unavoidable, sort of. So
Yeah.
you just need to just back up. It's a
That happens to everybody
2v3.
in the beginning. That used to happen to me when I first picked up the game too.
Yeah.
Trying to just a lot of items in the game.
And that point, then you guys need to get more comfortable at that. But that's just with time. But the main thing here is that you guys need to watch for that and back up, because you're 2v3ing. You are in your tower, but you're literally inches away from them, so that doesn't really help. And then yeah, I think he does die here. You should have backed up 1,000 years ago. As soon as you saw your raw die, like right now, you should just be backing up. Just like use your ability and then back up. There's no point of being here. They don't have enough pressure here without minions to kill your tower, so you should have just backed up, and then went to base and bought like an item or a chalice or something. There's no point of staying here. Yeah, you basically just watch them kill you. So
Did notice that he did use his 2 that time.
oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, he did. The Achilles, I saw him healing.
All right, so it looks like you guys are going to be resetting. Still haven't gotten a single buff camp outside of your own blue, which is not good.
Yeah. They essentially had triple buff control this entire game.
Yep. That's exactly why Yorm's level 9 too, on top of the kills that he has. So very similar, same thing, Raw. You are way too far up.
And you should be running away. You shouldn't be turning around either and trying to fight in your 3. As soon as you're out of position like that, you should just be trying to run as best you can.
And then that's exactly why you die. One thing I also want to highlight about the Geb, you do need to. Like you said,
you can cancel your 1.
You can cancel your 1 there. Not only that, at this point, if you're Geb, you should be ulting. Just ult to save their lives. Because you did take a while to do this, I think. Yeah.
I think he does it eventually.
He does it eventually, but it's a little too late.
He does it now. He should have done that like 4 seconds before.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as he saw Raw taking damage, he should have done it.
Right. And I do think, do you guys die here? Yeah, I think you do guys die here. And this instant right here, you could have ulted that.
You could have ulted because like he wasn't in threshold yet, but you know he's about to take another tower shot because he's not necessarily like on the very edge of the tower. You know for a fact he's going to take another tower shot, so he's going to be in threshold immediately. So you could have ulted, while like and timed it to where right when he gets the tower shot, you would have been able to get that.
Yep. You are very low here. You should not. That was just really greedy. You do get the kill. Which you probably should have had before, but you do sacrifice your life, which, good that you got the kill.
You could have gotten that kill before and survived if you did before. I mean, it's still fun. You got the kill in the end. You just ended up dying for it, though.
Yeah. One thing I will say, Raw, you do want to make sure you're using your 3 more on yourself sometimes, or at the top of the wave, not just like on the enemy wave, as you can heal your minions while also damaging the front line of the minions. That's just a small thing though.
O que acontece se eu agora ir pra dano ao invés de defesa?
So at this point, yeah, red's up, purple's up, your blue's about to be up,
Estou fazendo red de novo.
Sim, mas
and they're securing that. Now in that case, you couldn't really do much of anything because your Achilles is dead, but you want to make sure you're looking at this.
Respeitar o blue. Bora.
So you are getting your blue.
Yeah. Definitely secure your buff.
Yes.
Ui, carai.
Ah, pá, merda, pô. Ele ia fazer alguma coisa, só deu uma stunadinha nele pra
Aham.
ficar aqui de boa.
Boa.
So at this point, you don't see them. They're not in the middle of the map. Now they could be backing, but you don't know.
You
You
saw
don't.
them do red before, so the only place they could potentially be are they're backed in their base, they're at their own blue, or they're getting purple, which is a neutral
Yes.
objective.
You also saw Vamana on your ward right here. So you do know Vamana is in this area. So at this point, one of the tanks should be going over there to look to see if they're doing Bull Demon. So you want to make sure that you again, like I said earlier,
Especially
just
since your tower's down too.
Yeah.
As soon as your tower, someone's tower's down, you should be checking to see if they're going towards Bull Demon.
Geb does do that, so that is good.
That's good. Good play.
Again, you guys want to make sure that you're just like aware of like where is the enemy at? Where do we think they're at?
Olha só quem apareceu.
So it is they're just clearing wave. Nothing much you can do here.
Esse carinha aí, ele
Make sure you try not to use your one like that.
Yeah.
então
He's just, yeah, he shouldn't be throwing out your one like that, just for added damage, especially when you aren't really building any damage in the first place. It's just kind of, you're just
Yeah.
using it for the
Pena
sake
que
of
não
using it.
funciona no Yomungan,
Especially when
no-
you're at their tower line
Aqui,
too. If
que tão
they
me
tried to
focando, seus porra.
collide on you, you
Right.
could have gotten killed there.
Now like this is perfect for you, Raw. You're in the perfect position. Now, of course, he died here, but let me just point out that you're like way behind them, and you can see
Pena que não
In
funciona
terms of
no
positioning, this
Yomungan,
is
no-
perfect positioning. As
this
a
is
mage,
really
so
good positioning because you're able to just throw out your one. You use your ult. You're not taking any damage. Now, Achilles, or Gabe, you should have
Aqui que estão me focando, seus porra.
used your 3 to get out of this. Now you used it then, but you should have used it sooner. I saw you did use it once, and you still had a second proc of it. You can also use your ult to ult out if you're about to die. That is also a thing as well.
He had his ult as well. If you felt you were gonna die, you could have ulted out.
Yeah.
And also, if you're gonna use your 3, try not to do to the side. If you're trying to get out, you went to
É que o
kind of
outro tá
further
vivo
out
lá, ele
than
foi lá pro-
Yeah.
pro lado do purple.
instead of
Ah,
trying to
tá aqui, ó,
leave.
Oh,
beleza.
you guys are gonna
backwards.
die here. Yeah.
Escudo.
Just where
Toma.
go back. Did Geb use
Yeah,
his one
yeah, yeah.
again?
Yeah, he did. This is
okay.
this is the problem.
Yeah, this is the problem. Okay, so your Achilles is dead. You don't know where the Vamana is, but it's essentially a 2v2 right now. And Vamana, you don't know if he backed. He wasn't low, so he's certainly probably still in the area. If you ever get and you're down by like
Yes.
3 levels essentially.
And you're half health.
Yeah, and you're half health. So this is just
You
shouldn't
just gave them
be-
that kill.
Anytime like you have your escape ability like that, like your one or like your dash or whatever god or character you're playing, and you're in this position, you should be honestly backing up, and you should not be using that soul ability, your soul escape ability, as poke damage. You should
Yeah.
save that, because as soon as because in their minds, if I'm on the other team like they do, he's like, oh, this
Oh,
guy
just kill him.
he doesn't have an escape now. We can just kill him for free. He's
Yep.
easy, and that's exactly what
That's
happens.
exactly what happened. I did see Vamana on that map earlier on to the left. Your ward did ping that too. So you do, even though Joust is a very small map, you do want to make sure you do look at your map as well. Because he is in this, and well, he was in this left part of the jungle area. But you got Achilles is dead. They're not going to Bull Demon right away, which is good in your
Yeah.
book, because they could get this for free.
And essentially, because if like you're down here, I'm trying to go through the mentality. Because you're down here, you're down a teammate. So it's a 2v3. You should never really be attacking into this. You
Yeah.
should really be kind of just like backing, trying to get the items online, making sure they're not like pushing up to your Phoenix. Just kind of stand there, like, okay, telling them, just basically showing them, okay, we can't push anymore. Try to have them go for other objectives other than pushing you. Because you pushing in like this, it's just like it's a super easy fight for them. They have the full advantage. Even if the
Yep.
Vamana backed here, I still believe that they have this.
Yeah, because Yorm still has ult.
This Yorm and Soul both still have the advantage against you.
It's at the worst, it's a 2v2, and the Vamana is coming back.
And they also know that Ra doesn't have his ult either.
Yeah, Yorm has his ult, and he's like, "Oh, we can probably kill this Yorm." No, you can't. He has his ult. So even in like the most charitable situation that you could be in, it's too risky to do.
Yeah.
And also, like I said, they're not doing Bull Demon right away, so you can just back up. It's fine. Now the Vamana could have been doing Bull Demon, but still, they can't get Phoenix right away.
I mean, if Vamana's building tank, I don't think.
No, it would take him a while, but I'm pretty sure he would eventually be able to do it.
They would have been able to, like, the Achilles would be able to get over there and find him doing it by that time, though.
That's what we would probably do. He would not have went over to Bull Demon. Gabe would not have went over to Bull Demon, most likely. That's what you should have been doing if he comes back. But again, yeah, you should just be backing up here.
And now they just converge on the Geb.
Yeah.
They can escape.
And then Geb gets a really not great ult because of Amana. It does CC immune. He dies here. And then I think you just die here too, don't you? Oh wait, no, he doesn't die here. I forgot that
Ra survives here.
you barely survive. You should not have survived.
That was
That was just luck. So at this point, you just killed Geb. They're just probably gonna back. Soul is staying, but I mean, you can't really do much. You're so far down in gold. You're down 3k.
I was about to say too, like, again, Doom Orb is not a terrible item, but it is kind of a terrible item if you're this behind.
Exactly too.
You're just making the deficit even worse for yourself by not going a cheaper item.
You guys should be able to get this kill. She that's my point, is that they stay way too long.
She stay behind, way too behind. Also, did that soul have blue buff on her or no? I wasn't paying attention.
She does not.
Okay.
Wait, no, yes she does. Yes she does. She does have blue.
She does. Okay, so they did their blue then.
They did do their blue. You want to guys want to make sure you check their buffs too, just to see if it's up.
So now, okay, pause it. Okay, so now you just got a kill on their soul. So now for the next 23 seconds, you know that you're going to be basically having the advantage in terms of having an extra person.
Yep.
If you look at it, red's about to be up, purple's about to be up, and your blue's about to be up. I would be trying to prioritize probably red, and then potentially going to your blue, maybe even getting wave, and then going to purple as well.
Right here, you guys should have just waited for their wave. You guys don't have a hunter, so you can't get this tower. Not only that, even if you did have on her, it would be really risky to do that, especially when buffs are up. So, yeah, just wait for the next wave to come up. Pressure him out a little bit right here. Just try to power farm the wave.
There's no point of doing this right now. I would go to red right now. Like, you guys are behind golden XP. That would be the perfect opportunity for you guys to get back in the game, is getting all the buffs again.
Yep. You guys should not be fighting.
Ra pushed up a little bit too far, and he took a little bit too much poke damage, which is fine.
Now, the Jormungandr is not playing correctly either here, because the Jormungandr should have ulted a lot sooner. Now, he might not have his ult up, but see, the problem is that Jorm doesn't have a lot of CC. I don't entirely know if... It doesn't look like Geb's ult's up. I don't think it is. But you guys could have gotten those kills. But the safer play is to just get your red. Now, red isn't quite up yet, but that's why I say you power clear the wave and just wait by red. If they try to take it...
you're going to have the advantage.
You're going to have the advantage.
And they're going to be pushed. You're going to have the advantage, and they're going to be very far away from safety. They're going to be... It's harder to run out of the jungle than it is the mid lane.
That was a nice ult. Unfortunately, he blocked that.
Mana just blocks it.
And then you just die. Very similar to a lot of what you're doing, the Raw. You should have backed up. Also there, Gabe, you should not have turned around. You should have just used your 3 and just kept walking instead of, because you're just staring at them right now.
You probably,
you would have had a better chance of living. Yeah. So, that should have not happened. They basically just 2v3'd you, and got the better end of that, really, actually. That's really bad. That's really bad for your team, because now you're down again. You guys came back with a little bit of, with killing that soul, and then you just lost it.
She kind of stayed behind. You would have basically made you guys even if you'd just gotten the buffs,
your buffs.
Instead of trying to force a fight.
Yeah. So you get your blue. That's preferably where you should put your 3. You guys do get red here, which is nice. I do believe
As soon as
Achilles.
they're coming in, you guys all should be running away right now.
Yeah, I do believe the Geb dies here. Just a small thing.
Did the Geb use his one?
I do not know. If he did, he shouldn't have. I don't think he used it. He shouldn't have used it in this situation. In which case, you see all that. Your teammates should be telling you that we're going to be backing up. You guys should be communicating better. And at this point, Geb, you should be going out this way through this small crevice right here with your one just to get out. But you don't. You actually go around here, trying to chase the Vamana. And as you can see, the Raw is out. The Raw was able to get out, so you didn't need to go that way. But Raw, you went way too far. You actually left them. So that's just basically communication. That comes down to that. That's basically all that was. Better communication. Now I will say you guys need to work on better communication in terms of like, we're all collectively going to do this. Now, it may be the case that like, oh, we're all collectively going to do that, and it turns out it's a bad thing, a bad play, for example. But at the very least, you guys are on board, which 9 times out of 10 is, if it's a bad play, but you're all collectively doing it, generally speaking, it's better than...
It could potentially work out.
Yeah, because you guys are all doing one thing. It's 9 times out of 10 better than just saying like, like not communicating. You guys are just doing all different things.
But if you have like 2 of your members on the same page where it's like, okay, we're both gonna go in, and then one person's like, no, I'm out, then it's a 2v3.
Yeah. Let me rewatch that part again. Yeah, Geb dies here. Raw did leave you a little bit. But the Geb should not have actually died there to begin with. But at this point, just clear wave. Nothing to do.
You can't. There's no way you really defend this Phoenix. You just kind of concede it and clear wave.
So you did see Vamana run away. He is low, so you can probably assume he's most likely going to back. You also want to make sure, like, okay, they have 3 people on their team. Oh, I only see 2 of them. I just saw that person back, so now it's a 2v3. Oh, we have the advantage for a very short amount of time. So you want to make sure you pay attention to that as well. At this point, you guys are just doing waves and stuff. We can skip through this a little bit. At this point, you want to be as defensive as possible. Now, if there are openings, then sure, be aggressive. But they have all the pressure here. They're up in level. Yeah. They have fire waves. They have more items online. They probably have different buffs. They have red buff, or no, sorry, they did red buff. There isn't buffs, but everything is against you. So unless there's like a specific opening, just play off of what they're doing, basically.
You should be trying to find. They need to make a mistake, and you need to capitalize it in order for you to kind of get back in this game at this point.
Yeah, because they snowballed you a little too much.
If you try to, at this point with the level, and I'm assuming they probably have like almost a half to a full item over you guys. More like half an item over you guys, in the level differentials, and the buff control, and just everything, the fire waves. You guys can't afford to really play on neutral footing, as in like we're gonna go on the offensive here and all that. You kind of have to play a bit more defensively. And then obviously, like if they make a mistake, like Soul pushes up too far, he's like, oh, they're above the, which has happened a few times. Like when you killed that Soul that one time, she was caught out alone. You need to look for something like that to happen, and then at that point, you can capitalize on their mistakes.
Yeah. Now, your levels aren't too drastic, so you guys aren't, like, out of the game. But you do want to make sure to just play it careful. I think you guys actually do get the upper hand at one point in this fight, but then I think you guys lose it. So you are doing the good thing. You're backing up a little bit. Achilles are a little bit... Achilles, you need to... Gabe, you need to make sure that if you are going to be attacking them, to try and get that soul. Another miscommunication here. Achilles is getting caught out.
This is essentially a 2v3 for 5 seconds because
Raw does walk away. Geb was a little
Achilles
late.
Should be running away this entire time.
Now you could have probably gotten that kill.
You did a little bit earlier.
Yeah, you did die though. Do you think that Geb dies here? Does he not? Oh no, he lives. Barely. Yeah, that just comes up to communication. The Achilles, Gabe looked like you were going in, which wasn't necessarily bad, but if you do see your teammates, just back up. You guys need to just have like communication. More communication, what you guys want to do.
You can absolutely kill us Yorm here.
Yeah. That was a bit of a misclick. Oops, did miss something. So Soul again overstaying.
Over, yeah. Again, same thing as before.
O nível dele está muito
Ah.
alto, velho. Fica
Yeah,
aqui.
not the greatest ult.
It's just kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
Bem, tá jogando
So
Dando boa
so it wasn't this one. I think it's the next fight that they
Mano,
may have
porque ele tá
gotten.
indo direto, cara, no Elias, velho.
So at this point,
Bombado do
you're just
caralho.
clearing waves, and you know that they went over there. So Bull Demon's about to be up. So you want to keep that in mind that they're probably doing Bull Demon now. At this point in the game, your guys are pretty far down that you probably can't do too much of anything. But none of you actually went over to check because Raw you can snipe and get that Bull Demon King steal. And I do think that they actually do eventually get Bull Demon.
Yeah,
they do right there.
Especially since you gotta kind of think in what the enemy's head is.
Yeah.
Like, know what position they're in, and be like, okay, what would they want to do in this position, or what would I want to do in their position? You know that your Phoenix
Is
about to be up.
about to be up. Yeah.
Yeah, so like they're gonna get Bull Demon.
You guys.
Eles querem dar DG,
Yeah.
tem que
Okay. So the Vamana's overstaying. I don't know why he was doing that. But you do have the pressure now. A little bit of the pressure. Again, they still have the upper hand here because they have fire minions and they have Bull Demon sustain. See, right now, this is what I'm talking about. There's two people here, right? There's Yorm and Soul. Soul
Vamana
just
backed.
if Vamana just back, Soul just moved up. You guys should have already went on the Soul.
Rio's Soul. Geb should be ulting right now.
Geb should have probably ulted at that point. And again, like we
Yeah.
said, so we're gonna back this up a little bit. Geb and Achilles have a great setup for
Yeah.
Raw ult. If you guys communicate, just say, I'm gonna stun, and then Raw in your head, you should be like, okay, fine, this is the freest ult in the world.
Yeah, for the most part, this entire game, it should be, because you have a fantastic setup between Geb's 2 and Achilles' stun. The Achilles, for the most part, his role should be going into the back line and trying to harass the Soul, 1v1 the Soul. And if the Yorm or Vamana get freaked out and they're like, oh, wait, we need to kind of collide on this Achilles, then that just makes it to where Geb can focus on peeling for the Achilles and using the 3, and then Raw can just free cast.
Yep.
And then on the inverse of that same scenario, if Achilles goes for the Soul, and say it's like the Yorm and Vamana are like, okay, we're just going to leave Soul behind. We're going to go dive Raw. Then it's going to turn into Geb peeling for Ra with his 2 and also trying to save him with his 3. And then meanwhile, Achilles should be able to win, assuming it's not like a massive level differential, and Achilles should be able to solo a Soul, essentially.
Yeah.
For the most part. That's how I would play it anyway. And then also obviously use your 2 and your 1 to set up for, or even Geb ult to set up for Raw's damage.
Yep. Geb should have ulted a 1,000 years earlier.
Back up a little bit, particularly there, because you know Vamana backed, and you see Soul's pushing up.
That's the easiest kill.
The moment that Geb gets into, like the moment he gets close enough for it, like right now he should ult. Right this second he should ult. Right now he should.
Not only that, Achilles, you should not be back here. I know it's a miscommunication. Like I said earlier, you're going in. Meanwhile, Geb and Ra are just like watching basically. And as soon as they see you go in, they go in. But you're taking a lot of damage, so you're like, okay, let me back up. I'm dying here. So
there's
it's just
there's a bit of a latency in the decision making, because Geb should ult like right now, or at least even say if Soul's in her 3 right now, which she might be. Just wait out. Even like when she gets out of it, you still should be able to do it immediately. But I think like if you count the seconds, she wait like 5 to 6 seconds where she's like way running away and it's too late, and then you use the ult way too late.
Yeah, it's too late at that point. The Achilles.
Raw's got a perfect setup right here for his ult. If you ult them.
Not only that, Gabe, you should be like right here on top of that Soul. She pushed up. You could have 3'd in instead of 3'ing to the side, and you would have just been harassing her. These should have been both kills, or at least at the very least, you should have killed the Soul and then forced out the Jormungandr's ult. And at that point, it's a 3v2, and you would have gotten a bunch of gold off that, and you would have most likely, because you would have added a lot of levels and shit, you would have probably been able to take that tier 1 and then get all of your buffs, and then basically it's even. But unfortunately, a lot of misplays, mainly up to communication and hesitation.
Yeah, it's like 7 seconds after. It's way too late.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. But and then you eventually die. So. And actually, I think you do guys lose here. Yeah, that ob shard a lot earlier would have actually done you wonders.
Absolutely.
So the Achilles died. I don't know how he died, but it was mainly the misplay. So that's basically it for you guys. Yeah. So what did we learn today, class? I did make a little bit of a list. I will send this list to you, Gabe, so you don't have to like write everything down. So I will send you that. But generally speaking, I'm just gonna throw out a bunch of stuff. The main general thing you guys want to work on is better communication. Like I said earlier, one person would go in, 2 people would watch, and then the person that went in would leave, and then the other 2 people would go in. So you guys were never really fighting as a team. But when you guys were, you actually did get a couple of kills.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, your decision making. Now that's just going to come with you playing the game more, just knowing when to do it. But hesitation is just going to be natural, but at the same time, just do it. Just do it, especially if you're learning the game. Just do it to see what you can and can't do, and then learn from it. Raw, specifically, the person playing Raw, you were pushing up way too far, and at the same time, there were certain times where you were like running away from your team,
running away way too far, where your abilities would never be able to. Because you also have to understand too, Warriors guard, anybody building tanky. I mean, your primary job is setup and also peeling.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that like every character in the game, even like a full damage character, can provide peel via damage, or even if they have their own setup. So like if Geb and Achilles are getting demolished, Raw could threaten them with their own damage and be like, whoa, and then they're gonna be like, whoa, I don't want to take this damage. Then it's gonna peel them away.
Yeah, instead of just running away.
And it's just a 2v3 at that point.
Yeah, basically that's it for Raw. Generally speaking, you guys need to watch your gold backing. You need to back more often.
Need to back more often. Need to prioritize the buff control because you guys never went over to purple.
Yeah, you guys didn't go over a single time. The only time that you guys went over was when Geb checked the Bull Demon.
Yeah, and then recognize when buffs are coming up, and also because there's a few times where you actually got a kill, and it was like you were in an advantageous situation. It's like, okay, you guys can easily secure all 3 buffs, but then instead you get into a fruitless fight for no reason. And then then by the time you want to go for those buffs, now it's a 3v3 again. Now you have to contest it with them on an even footing again, where you don't have an advantage anymore.
Yep. Geb, you need to use your 3 with more purpose. Don't just throw it out willy-nilly. You need to be quicker on your peel, specifically like your ult and your 2. And then
don't waste your getaway ability.
Yeah, your getaway ability. You can't waste that.
You're using it for poke damage, and your damage is negligible as a support, essentially.
Yeah, your setup. Your damage is in your 2 and your ult for Geb. So
your damage is essentially coming out of your setup for someone else on your team providing the damage.
Yes. So you actually died, I think, twice because you used your 1 and you couldn't escape. So make sure you focus on that. And then, Gabe, you need to generally learn how to play the god more effectively. Like I said, you need to use your 2 more often. You need to use your 3 as an engage so you can use your 1 instead of throwing out your 1, for example. You need to auto cancel with your 3. If you want to, watch my Achilles YouTube video that I did. I don't play the best Achilles in the world, but you can kind of see what I do if you want to get a better idea of how to play Achilles. You need to be more aggressive on your backliners, and then generally speaking, you need to be more quick on your decision making, as there was a lot of hesitation, and then afterwards you would do the thing that you should have done earlier, but it's too late. Like I said earlier, don't be too afraid to where you're not actually learning what you can and cannot do. That is one thing that a lot of new players do. That's what I did, actually. So you're not alone. And then decision making, like I said, there were a few times where you guys could have committed and killed a lot, actually, and you could have won the game a lot of the times. You could have won the game. You could have won the game. And then also make sure you guys are pointing out the targets you want to be focusing on. So if you want to kill the soul, make sure you're like, all right, guys, let's go kill the soul. All right, let's go focus the soul. Let's poke the soul out. If you guys are all focusing on different gods, like let's say you guys don't even say anything at all, you're just like throwing out your abilities and stuff, you guys might be looking at all different targets, in which case is pretty bad, where you could poke out somebody, for example, like the soul, but instead you guys just threw out your abilities on 3 separate people and then nothing happens. And
then
then
they're free, and then their cooldowns come up, and then
Yeah.
if they're playing smart while they're still alive, they'll just all in on one person. Then it's a 2v3, and they're just gonna do the same thing to the next person and the next person. You generally want to focus one target at a time.
Yep. But that's basically out of your small mechanics, which you just will learn, and you can work on yourself actually, like in jungle practice with your friends or whatever. Recognizing your early game as well when they get level 5, and then also realize your synergy. Your team has some crazy synergy, like we said earlier, so make sure you realize that, and then prioritize your farm. One thing that I will say that you guys should, I probably should have said this a little bit sooner, but this is going to affect you guys more. You guys should make someone a sort of shot caller. Now, they're not going to be in charge at all, but generally speaking, one person usually has that role, and it's usually the tank, as they're the one that sets up the damage, and the person that follows can just work off of that. So if somebody's playing the tank, usually they should be the one that should just be the designated shot caller for that game, and then that'll help you.
Because they're the setup for the damage. So if the Achilles like, hey, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna stun the soul, and then everyone's like, all right, sick, we're all on the same page now. He's gonna go in stun, and then Geb can knock up, or vice versa. Geb's gonna blink in, he'll one in. I'm gonna ult the soul. I'm gonna stun them in place. I'm gonna set up for the soul. All right, good. Or same, it can be even for the Jormungandr or the Vamana too. It's like, all right, let's go on this Vamana. I'm going to do this. The reason why it's mostly the tank is because they're usually, again, they have the peel, they have the setup, and then the damage comes after. But you just gotta let the damage dealer know. And that's not a 1-to-1 ratio. That's just usually how it goes most of the time, just because of the nature of the characters.
Yeah.
But hell, even the damage characters would be like, all right, let's go for this character, let's go for this god.
Right.
They can call a shot as well too. You just gotta make sure that you're all on the same page. And if you don't agree with it, you can flat out say like, no, do this.
Yeah.
But just try to be on the same page, even if you disagree. Just try to make try to make decisions.
Just communicate. You guys need to communicate, because it didn't seem like you guys were communicating. Like you guys, I obviously didn't understand anything you were saying, but we did watch this with text on, and it didn't seem like you guys were really saying much of anything, which is a common thing. It's not really bad. It's just you guys need to be more like on it. Like, all right, I'm doing this, guys. I'm doing this. Follow me. Or if someone's like, no, do this. This is so much better. We can do that. And now there might be issues with like, like, oh, I don't want to do that. There might be issues with that, but that'll just come with you communicating more. And
yeah, most of the dialogue, I believe, from the subtitles was just you guys just talking to each other, like chill. I don't think it was like not a lot of it was. There was a few times, but not a lot of it was like pertaining to the actual game.
Yeah. So just being on board. Now there might be issues with it initially, but just trying to figure out how you guys are like communicating and stuff like that, and trying to figure out that stuff is definitely like your biggest flaw here out of everything. But with that, I think that is generally the video. I'm going to, like I said earlier, I'm going to give you guys, I'm Gabe, I'm going to give you the text so you can just read off of it, just like the points that I have for you guys, and hopefully that'll help you remember stuff instead of just like rewatching the video or taking notes or whatever. So again, thank you, Gabe, for giving us the gameplay. It is, I'm looking at the time, it's an hour, so it is a little long, so I don't, expect outside of you, Gabe, to watch the entire thing. But generally, I hope this does help. This is going to be an in-depth thing. I'm going to put it in the title. It is very in-depth, but I hope you guys did learn something pertaining specifically to TrioQueue, because this is what it's specifically pertaining to. But yeah, if you have anything and you want to say in the comments about anything that we may have missed or help Gabe and his team out, then go ahead. I am happy to have you guys help us out and help them. But again, thank you, Gabe. With that being said, if you have any, comment, like, and subscribe. If you have any other suggestions, let me know. But other than that, thank you guys for watching.